In just a moment, I'm going to ask you to merely think of a playing card. The card that you think of will be your selection. You may think of any card that you wish. All 52 cards are here. Don't let me influence you. However, when I snap my fingers, I'd like for you to name the card out loud. What card did you think of? The King? The King of Spades? If that's good enough for you, then that's good enough for me. But you could have thought of any card. Remember that. I'm going to leave your king sticking about halfway out of the pack. I'll leave it in full view the entire time. Now, when you thought of a playing card before you named it, your brainwave pattern was very flat. And then it spiked real high and went back down to being flat after you thought of your card. This is what it looks like. I've drawn it out on the back of my card box. A very flat brainwave pattern. All of a sudden it spiked up, then it went back down to being flat once again. Well, I've drawn this pattern on the backs of my playing cards. Let me show you. This is a brainwave pattern which is very flat. No one was thinking of anything at the time. A flat brainwave pattern. But somewhere, remember your card's still in the middle somewhere there's a spike. Only one spike of a brainwave pattern. Now remember, you thought of a card, any card at all. Could it possibly be the only spiked pattern is your selection, the King of Spades? Now remember, you could have thought of any card. You could have thought of the 5 if you wanted to, or the 3 down there, the 3 of clubs, 6 of diamonds, any card whatsoever you could have thought of. But you thought of the King of Spades, the only card with a spiked mental pattern on its back. Thank you for helping. You did a great job. Mentally selecting the real brainwave. Now let's take a look at how and why it works. To put the effect together, you're going to be needing 4 extra playing cards from a matching deck of playing cards. These 4 playing cards do not matter as to their identity. You're only going to be using them because of their back pattern. Now upon the back of these 4 cards, you take a magic marker and draw your squiggly lines as you see here. You'll notice that in the center of every bicycle card there is a rectangular pattern, and those squiggly lines only come up as far as to touch the bottom line of that rectangular line. So these 4 cards can be set aside. And now let's take a look at the rest of the 52 cards from the regular deck. Take your magic marker. Once again, draw your squiggly lines as you see here on the right side of the card. You'll notice that the squiggly lines start right about dead center, as you can see. Dead center over to the right. Now the squiggly lines at the top, which run to the left, they're not center at all, they're off center. And you'll notice there is a circle in the middle of the bicycle card. Well, that is about where the squiggly line roughly starts, from the edge of that circle. And you do this to all of the cards, so that when you spread them upon the table, only the wiggly lines show at the bottom. Then you add the extra 4 cards, making up your complete gimmicked deck. So basically, if you reverse any one of those cards, it's going to show a spiked pattern upon only 1 card. Basically, that's how the effect is done. Now when you pull the card out forward, you want to anchor the cards below it and above it so that they don't jiggle and nothing is exposed prematurely. Then when you flip it over rather fast so they don't see that little squiggly line at the other end. That is simply how this trick is performed. When you pick up the card once again, you pick it up from the front because the fingers will cover up that little bit of squiggly line. Your fingers cover it up so it looks only like a spiked pattern on the back. Now let's take a look at the entire run-through of the performance from the performer's perspective. Removing the cards from the card case do not show the brainwave pattern until later on. Removing the cards, making sure the brainwave pattern is facing the audience, it's facing them. So when you ribbon spread the cards from right to left, They can see all of the indexes. They choose any card. You pull it out, but start to rotate it 180 degrees, but only go halfway and lay it down upon the table. Only go halfway and lay it down. Pick up the ribbon spread, cut the deck in half, placing their selection into the deck, rotating it the rest of the way around to 180 degrees, but leave it sticking out. Then you describe your brainwave pattern, what happened. It was flat, then it spiked, then it went back to being flat again. You then show them the card case, showing them what their brainwave pattern actually did look like, and that you've actually have drawn that upon the backs of your playing cards. Now be sure not to go past the top 4 cards as you show them the brainwave pattern. If you do, they'll see that brainwave pattern before it's time. So only remove the top 2 or top 3 cards, showing the flat brainwave pattern on the backs of your cards. You then ribbon spread them on the table, emphasizing their card was put in the middle, and there is one card with a brainwave pattern there. Now when you go to pull this card out, you have to anchor the cards underneath it and above it with your first and second finger. Grab their selection and pull it out. The reason for anchoring the cards is so that nothing jiggles around, nothing is exposed prematurely. So you bring it out and leave it set like that until you go to turn it over. You flip it over real fast and you never see the gimmick side of that card. You pick up the deck, flip it over like a book, cut half the cards on the table, emphasizing they could have selected any of those 2 cards. Flip the left-hand cards over and the top 2 cards over, as you see here, using those to scoop up the cards on the table and flip everything over. This shows multiple cards with just a brainwave pattern, a flat pattern, and no spikes on the back. When you pick up the card, you make sure you want to cover up that little piece right there. So you pick it up from the front, show the card with the only card with the brainwave pattern on it. Place it face down again, this time picking it up from the back because you're going to insert it into the deck, covering up that little piece right there. Then you tilt the cards back down again, showing their brainwave pattern to them, squaring up the deck, ribbon spread the cards, and once again it's showing like it should within the center of the pack. The only card with a mental spike on it.